This is a meeting of the Affordable Housing Community Equity Development Commission. My name's Terry Bond. I'm stepping in for our chair, Nancy Lipson, who's out today, so I'm acting chair. And right now, let's do a call to order because we have one member here. Want to introduce yourself? Oh, you're off. Your audio's off, I think, Pat. There you
Yeah,
go.
Patrick Sheridan.
All right. I guess that's it. We'll go to the minutes then. That's the next item. Approval of the minutes. You'll have to make the motion, Patrick.
You can't approve them because you don't have a quorum.
Okay, then we'll hope other people show up. And a quorum is four. So hopefully the two others will come. So we'll see. We can always approve them in our next meeting. So I don't
I
think
was I was absent from the last meeting anyway, so I wouldn't
so there
know.
you go. All right, all right. I guess I'm not going to keep this job very long at this rate. So why don't we go then to item four, which is the 2025, 29, 26, 20 5-year consolidated plan, and then the FY 2026 annual action plan. This is the public meeting for that. And
Thank you, Terry. So my name is Alexis Robinson. I am a senior comprehensive planner with the Department of Planning and Zoning, and I'm here to kind of open and introduce for the second time the 5-year consolidated plan and annual action plan that we do for our community development block grant funding through HUD. At our April meeting, or your April meeting, we came and had a public hearing that was focused on the needs that we would include in this plan. Since then, we have introduced a resolution with the city council that went to the city council on June 16th. That will also be going to before the Housing and Human Welfare Committee. And we will get a final vote on that through the city council, hopefully at the July 14th city council meeting. In this time period, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. I have a few slides to share, if that's okay.
oh, sure.
And I'll use that.
Alexis, are you going to go over the public comments you got? Because that was the part that you were waiting for at the last meeting you talked about.
Yes, that we have a segment for that as well.
Great.
So, yeah. So, just an introduction, as we stated before, the City of Annapolis, as an entitlement community under the Department of Housing and Urban Development, is required to provide a report every 5 years for the consolidated plan. The consolidated plan is basically how we plan to use that funding that is allocated towards us. The Community Development Block Grant Program helps to fund opportunities for low and moderate income communities within the city of Annapolis. And yeah, so this is really a standard thing that we do every 5 years. We've been doing it since apparently 2009. I learned that earlier this week. All right, and so just a summary of the objectives and outcomes. So we have identified 6 need areas or priority needs within the consolidated plan, and this is where our objectives and outcomes focus on. 6 strategies for housing, homelessness, special needs, community development, economic development, and administrative planning and management. Before I move away from this slide, I also want to introduce John Haglund, who is our our consultant with urban design Ventures, who is helping us put together this plan. John, if you wanted to say anything or expound on kind of, how these need areas come together.
Thank you for the introduction. Really, one thing just to kind of clarify that the plan is specific to the city's CDBG program. So it shouldn't be mistaken for the comprehensive plan. There are similar types of objectives and goals that would be in both plans, but this is specific to the CDBG funds that the city receives, and is basically set up to recognize how the CDBG funds will be spent over the next 5 years. And so for each project that CDBG funds will be used for, it would meet one of these priority need areas that we have. And is designed just to basically identify what those needs are, and how we'll use those funds to address those during the next 5 years.
Thank you. And so included in the consolidated plan is also a summary of the evaluation of our past performance, or the CAPER, which is prepared annually. I believe we also came to this commission to talk about the CAPER earlier this year, but the CAPER is produced every year to show how funding has been used in that past fiscal year. And this is really a summary of what the end of our last federal fiscal year funding did for those 5 years. So next is the citizen participation. Like I said before, we held a public hearing with the Housing Commission in April that opened public comment for public needs that would be included in the consolidated plan. The draft of the consolidated plan was placed on public display on, I guess that was like June 12th officially. It's been advertised in the Capitol Gazette and is currently available online as well as in person for viewing and comments by the public. That's anyone who is living and working within the city of Annapolis. The draft plans will be on display for 30 days. So that will end on July 14th, which is also the day that we will go back to the city council. This is the second public hearing for this plan. Well, I keep switching between singular and plural because it's technically 2 plans, but 1 document. Additionally, we have 3 public surveys that are circulating that have been advertised as well to collect public comment on particular areas such as housing opportunity and the like for low and moderate income populations. John, is there anything that you'd like to add for this section?
I think only just to expand upon citizen participation, that there was also stakeholder participation where we reached out to stakeholders in the community, had group meetings that were attended. One of the online surveys was specific to stakeholders, so that allowed those groups to speak specifically as to the population that they serve and the needs specific to that population.
Thank you. And so just as some next steps, like I said before, the draft plan is on display. Anyone is welcome to make a comment or on the plan. You can submit a comment through the comment form on the DPZ website by calling or emailing myself, and by mailing in comments as well. And so we'll be meeting with the City Council Housing and Human Welfare Committee on Monday, June 30th. And then the resolution will go to the City Council for a vote on July 14th. And a copy of the plan, again, can be found on the website. And just a closing summary. This is the overall goal is to improve the living conditions for all residents in the city of Annapolis. Like John said, the goals of this consolidated plan do align with what is in the comprehensive plan. And yeah, I guess at this time, we can open it up for any comments or questions from the commission. And then if there's anyone online that would like to give public testimony to the plan tonight, we can do that. Oh, Terry, you're still on mute.
The public comments, because you presented all that information in our last meeting, and I don't think anything's probably changed from that because it was gonna be modified based on public comments, if I was understanding correctly. And I just wondered if you got any information that you're gonna be to modify the plan in any way.
I don't believe there was any information to change the direction of the plan. We did have some draft goals based on projects and what we anticipate coming up in the next 5 years within the city. John, was there anything that stood out to you from public comments that we received before?
No, other than just participation from the public as well as stakeholders went into the formation of the plan. And just any comments would be appreciated at this time. Terry, like you heard Teresa was speaking earlier, we're just going to update some HACA information. There's additional information just as it's on display that we're updating. Kind of the turnaround period was very short. HUD kind of has a hurry up and wait scenario where we didn't know our allocations, and that's what we discussed at the last public hearing. And then we got the allocations, and it was quick turnaround, about less than 60 days to get everything finished up with that. So that's always a challenge with that. But no, nothing came out that wasn't incorporated into the plan or already a part of the planning document that we were looking at with that.
Okay, thanks. I guess Patrick, you have anything? Any comments? Questions?
No, I didn't have any questions.
Okay. All right. Thank you all.
Terry, I know the next item is also kind of related as well. Should I just go ahead and get into that?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I guess I can share my screen again.
You
So
are Alexis, you are the show tonight, so share your screen.
yes, I don't know why I'm so reluctant. So
Yours.
so this next presentation, I guess, is about this next fiscal year, 2026, are the applications that we have received for the CDBG. This is also included in the draft 5-year consolidated plan fiscal year 2026 annual action plan. So this information can be found there. This is going to be very brief. I know we do have a few of the applicants on the call with us today. So if the commission has any questions or comments for the applicants, you can ask then. All right, so just to overview for this 2026 fiscal year, we have 4 applicants. The Boys and Girls Club of Annapolis and Anne Arundel County, the Housing Authority of the City of Annapolis, Homes for America Incorporated, as well as Arundel Lodge. No final decision has been made on funding these projects. That won't be finalized until the 5-year plan is submitted and approved. But
Can I just clarify something? Because this is the first year, I think, that we're just using CDBG money for capital projects, right?
Ye-
And that's different than past years, because maybe I'm wrong, maybe we did it earlier, but I don't think so. So,
that's correct. So usually it's a capital projects and services
right, and the
funding, but
services are being funded out of a different fund this year with the city, right?
right with the city.
Yeah, I just want anybody that's asking that question to know that those services will still be funded, but in a different way through a different funding source.
Yeah, I was
Absolutely.
curious about that, because I didn't see any in the list.
Well, great. I'm going to go through the applications really quickly, just a short summary. So, Boys and Girls Club is seeking funding to update flooring throughout the Bates Boys and Girls Club in Annapolis. They're requesting $23,067.63 for a total project amount of $42,365. And the city is recommending providing them with $23,068, kind of just rounding that up. Arundel Lodge is seeking to improve the conditions for a deaf residential housing program. The renovations will include upgrading flooring, bathrooms, and kitchens to create a more comfortable living environment. And they're requesting $65,000 of the $85,000 project budget, and the city is recommending providing $65,000 in funding. Homes for America is requesting funds to replace an elevator at Bowman Place. This funding will help to offset the costs for the elevators in their 6-story mid-rise residential building consisting of 60 apartments. And they are requesting $125,000 of a $428,400 project budget. The city is recommending providing Homes for America with $65,726. And the Housing Authority is requesting funding for capital improvements and infrastructure improvements, requesting $135,000 of their $4,195,000 project budget. And the city is recommending providing $60,000 in funding. Oh, I thought I included another slide. I just want to clarify that we are anticipating $1.3 million estimately over the next 5 years, and that's also what factors into how much we would be able to give to these projects. So that is a summary of the applications and the applicants. As you can see, most are capital improvements to facilities that are currently existing.
Thank you, Alexis. I have to mention, we have 2 more members of the commission now available. Rich Halverson and Karen Britt.
Wonderful. So are there any questions for the applicants or staff about the CDBG proposed funding or applications?
I'm just happy that 2 of those projects, they got full amounts that they requested. good projects. That's a positive, real positive.
It is. I mean, they
Nice
were
to
also
be able,
on
nice to be able to do that.
the lower end of what was being asked. So it seemed fair to.
I had an earlier question, but I think I answered it myself reading through the application, but on the Boys and Girls Club, since they don't actually own the building, I was curious as to why the landlord, which appears to be the county, isn't doing the repairs, but in reading the lease, apparently there is a requirement for the Boys and Girls Club to cover their own improvements.
That's good to know. I was hoping Lauren from Boys and Girls Club would be able to join us. She would have probably been able to answer that, but I don't think she's on now.
We know where the house is that they're renovating for the deaf population. We know where it is. It's probably in the application. I apologize. I've forgotten.
I'm not sure if it's specifically listed in the application.
Okay.
I know the application that's listed there is their particular address, the address for Arundel Lodge.
Yeah, somewhere in the application, I think I did see the actual addresses, but they're the townhouses on Genesis
Okay.
between Hilltop and Forest.
Guess that's it. Any more questions or comments? Well, thank you, Alexis. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Terry.
And thank you, John, for those updated statistics too. They'll be really helpful that you sent
Yeah,
us.
you're welcome. I just wanted to kind of send that off, get you started. Please, through Alexis or Teresa, get in touch to kind of continue what you're looking for. If there's other information that would be helpful.
I think your ending 2 paragraphs gave us some good talking points, and that will help us. So thank you.
Good. Glad to hear.
And
All
we
right.
thank you for your consideration as we continue to help preserve our public housing units here in Annapolis.
And we thank you for making improvements in the infrastructure. That will go a long way.
Yeah, can't wait to see what you do.
Seems like people like to complain. Hopefully they will acknowledge the improvements you're making too.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you all. I guess we can close out item number 4 and 5. And I don't know, so the next item on our agenda was homeless policy discussion, but Rich, unless you want to talk about it, Elijah couldn't come tonight. So we may want to continue that item.
I think that's right. I think it's advantageous to jump back in when he's here.
Okay, all right. Well, this might be a short meeting. Does anybody have any new business they want to bring up?
I just was wondering if the groups that are requesting and getting funds would like to talk about their projects.
Oh, I'm sorry. If they want to, go ahead. We'd love to have you talk about them. That's why you're here. Last minute request too. So go ahead. You want to talk, Melissa?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Melissa Maddox Evans, Executive Director from the Housing Authority, City of Annapolis. So we have requested the funding for our public housing sites, namely Eastport Terrace and Harbor House, to assist and preserving some of our systems as we are on the road to redevelopment. We have secured a developer for the site, so we look to start the first phase of redevelopment in the next 3 or 4 years. But in the meantime, there are a lot of infrastructure needs on the site in order to keep the units safe, decent, and habitable until we can perform a wholesale redevelopment of substantial rehabilitation and new construction on the site. And these funds will assist us in that endeavor.
It's great.
And
Any questions?
assuming you can add anything else I might have omitted.
No, not really. I think you have given a good summary. So we are happy to be here, and we are very grateful to the commission for recommending, the CDBG fund, and to the city staff for working, with us. So we want to take advantage of these funds as long as they can survive in the new budget. So, and these funds go a long way in keeping, the folks that we work with on a daily basis housed, and to provide decent and safe, affordable housing in the city of Annapolis. So thank you very much for the consideration. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Teresa, can you help me identify the different applicants that are here?
Sure. Well, Dana Johnson is from Homes for America.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm not on camera. You guys sped through the agenda and I didn't quite make it home. So I'm in my car, but I'm pulled over. I want to also just say thank you. We have been able to access CDBG grants for preserving some of our properties in the city of Annapolis. And I know you're talking about your larger plan, but I think, most of you know that maintaining our affordable housing has become an increasing challenge with the dramatic escalation in our operating costs. And so, I just think these opportunities to come and apply for capital funds for repairs and updates to our properties is incredibly valuable. And we are very grateful. The application that we submitted this year was to replace elevators at our mid-rise building in the city, Bowman Place. We bought this property and renovated it about 10 years ago, but we did sort of elevator light on the renovations, and now we need a full replacement, which is incredibly expensive and well beyond what we have reserves for. So it's critical that we identify other funds to help get that done. And of course, we have a lot of folks in the building that desperately need an elevator in order to get to their apartment and be able to go about their business and go to the grocery store and things like that. So we want to make sure we get this done as soon as possible. And these funds will really help us do that.
That's great. Do you have potential sources for the rest of good places to look?
We have some reserves that we'll use, and then we're depending on the level of funding and what we'll have to talk to the investor and the state about how much of the reserves we can use, and go from there.
Great. We wish you luck with that. It's a good project.
Thank you.
And thanks all the applicants for coming kind of last minute. There was sort of a mix up, and I'm glad you could come and talk about your projects today with the commission.
Just so everybody knows, the funds that these funds, which was about $270-some thousand, that's all we got. So we would have probably loved to have funded your total project, but we only had $270,000 to spend, and that's what we'll have to spend this year. Actually, this is last year's HUD money, so this is relatively okay. It's next year that we have to worry about, because the president has X'd out the CDBG funding in the budget, so we need to keep an eye on that. So, but these are, they've said they're allocated, so I think we're pretty safe with that.
Hope so.
And the reason that we stopped funding the public service projects was because the city has a community grants program that funds public service projects, funds operating, and CDBG is limited to spending only 15%. of its allocation, and it's like $35,000-$40,000 citywide, which it just doesn't make any sense to be giving people $2,000 to spend on CDBG, which probably costs them $2,000 just for all the record keeping. So we decided to move forward with just funding capital projects.
And I think it's easier for applicants too, because they can just apply to one source rather than.
Well, that plus the fact that it probably costs us more than $40,000 to administer processing all those payments and administering the grant. So,
It was a smart move, So Teresa, do we have any other applicants here tonight to talk?
I don't think so, but I don't know who Bianca is.
I thought you would. Bianca.
Bianca, are you with HACA?
No, good evening. I'm with the Office of Law.
Oh, okay. I haven't met you yet.
I know. Hi. Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's all our applicants. Thank you all for coming on such short notice and sharing information on the projects. We're excited about that. So we'll go back to any new business for the commission. Anything else anybody wants to talk about? Anybody? Nope. All right. Short meeting tonight.
Yeah, sorry I was late. Sorry I missed everything. Hopefully I can catch a recap from someone.
Same apologies for tardiness.
So does somebody want to move for adjournment? Anybody want to second that?
A second.
All right. So moved. All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
All right.